Hey, first grade, welcome back. We're here for phonics. It's Phonics Friday. Not just Fun Friday, guys. Phonics. Well, my headphones keep coming off. Phonics Friday. Are you excited? I'm excited. But I love phonics, so of course I'm excited. Let's take a look at what we're going to be working on today. So, my good old buddy, Rashid, he's here to talk to you about our word wall. And you know, I was looking at our word wall the other day, and I'm going to pull it up right now. And I was just kind of admiring it because, I mean, look at all those beautiful words that you know or that you're working on knowing. I know that we've known these words for a while now since they were kindergarten words, but don't they kind of feel like old friends? Like maybe your favorite picture book, or they feel like your favorite stuffy. We know these words. They're comfortable for us. And have you ever read a familiar book, a book that you love more than anything in the world, but you haven't read it in a really long time? And you pick it up and you read it and you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot all about these parts. I forgot about this part where the princess goes to the castle, or where the knight battles the goblin. You forget. You forget when you are comfortable with something about all of its special parts. And so we've become really comfortable with these words since kindergarten last year. And so we are going to revisit them and look at them so that we can study all their special parts. I am so proud of all the work that you've done so far this week on your snap words. But Rashid and I, we really want to look at these words and talk about how when you use words that are, you know, in a snap, you start to notice parts of them. And when you notice parts of them, you notice other things around these words that remind you of these familiar snap words that you already know. So let's take a look at some of these words so that we can study them and we can wonder about other words. So I thought about this word here. Now this word, this, it's a familiar word, right? Yeah, it is. It has this TH digraph at the beginning. Does anyone remember what sound that makes? Yeah, the TH digraph, it makes a sound. Let's make that sound together. Are there other words that start with that digraph? Yeah, there are. Think about the word the. Even though that's not on our list here, I bet you know that snap word. The word the, it starts just like this. But I also notice another part of this word. The is. Well, it can't be is. This word isn't this. In this word, this is makes the is sound. This. So sometimes when I see is, it's is. And sometimes when I see it, it sounds totally different and it's is. Do you think there are other words that work like this? Where maybe there are some letters that sound one way one time, and then when you look at them another time, they're totally different? That's crazy. I wonder if there are any more words that work like that. Take a look at this word. You guys read this word with me? This is the word can. Yeah, it's an old familiar word. I bet you it was probably one of the first snap words you learned in kindergarten. And so when I look at this word, well, I notice it's got the k sound at the beginning, like Cookie Monster, right? But I also know that C can make another sound, right? It can make that sound. So I know that san isn't right. It makes the k sound like Cookie Monster. Also, I see this and chunk right here. Whoa! Didn't mean to do that. I see this and chunk. I still didn't mean to do that. Guys, I'm not going to highlight it. I'll just point to it. The and chunk right here. And. Can you think of any other words that might have that and chunk in them? Yeah, words like ran, or fan, or tan, or man might have that and sound as well. How about this word? The word buy. Let's read it together. Buy. Well, that's a really strange word because there's a Y here. And I know Y makes the Y sound. But when I say buy, it's making the I sound. I wonder if there are other words where Y might make a sound that's different than Y. It might make the sound like I. Can you think of any? actually looking at one right now. Anybody see it? Yeah. My also has a Y that makes an I sound at the end. But sometimes, like in a word like this, hi, I says its name, and that's not a Y. Words can be so tricky, and that's why we have to spend so much time studying them to look at all their different parts, and so that we're ready when a tricky word comes to us, like Mrs. Miller's been talking to us about, that we have lots of strategies and other words that we can think about that are like the tricky words we're examining. Take a look at these words. Whoops, there you go. I want you to look at those for just a second. What do you notice? There's one big thing that stands out to me about all of these words, all of these snap words. Yeah, do you see it? They all have a letter O, at least one. But the letter O, even though it's in all of these words, they make all these different sounds. Take a look at the word to. Say it with me. To. What sound does O make in to? It makes the oo sound. But then look next door. Look at the word so. What sound does O make in this word? Yeah, it makes the O sound. So. It's the same for go and no. So just because we see O at the end of the word doesn't mean it's going to say its name. Sometimes it might make the oo sound like to. Now come down here and look at the word got. What sound does O make in got? Yeah, it's making that short vowel sound like octopus. What about in this word, you? That O and U, they're kind of going together to make a sound, aren't they? You and to both sound the same at the end, but they look really different. What about look? You hear that sound. That's very different from all of the other words that have an O in them. So boys and girls, what you need to remember is when you're studying words and looking at words that even if they look the same and they're using the same letters, they might be making totally different sounds. So as word detectives, as phonics professors, we need to study those words as much as we can so that we have lots of different ways to explore tricky words that we don't know. We know that O can make lots of different sounds and do lots of different things. So when we see an O in a tricky word, we know that we can try it lots of different ways to solve it. All right, that's what I have for you for phonics today. Thank you so much for being great phonics professors, for great word detectives, for great word studiers, and I will see you next week for more phonics fun.